Members, I rise today to present SCR 99, which recognizes the profound contributions of a long overlooked figure in our scientific history by marking today that would be her exact birthday as Eunice Newton Foote Day. This resolution corrects decades of oversight by acknowledging Eunice Newton Foote as the founder of modern climate science and the first researcher to demonstrate the effects of greenhouse gases on Earth's climate. Though her paper had to be presented by one of her male colleagues to the American Association for the Advancement of Science, publication of her experiments marked the first time any scientist, man or woman, had demonstrated the warming effect of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And members, this was in the mid-19th century. While many in the scientific community were unwilling to take seriously the contributions of a woman, the next issue of Scientific American covered Eunice's paper as, quote, one which would do honor to men of the highest scientific reputation, writing that the experiments of Ms. Foote afford abundant evidence of the ability of women to investigate any subject with originality and precision. Eunice was years ahead of the scientific community in understanding the effect increased greenhouse gases would have on the atmosphere, including John Tyndall, who, despite publishing his experiments 3 years after Eunice and without reference to carbon dioxide or the climate, would be credited as the father of climate science for decades. Beyond her role as a groundbreaking scientist and the first American woman to have her work on physics published in a scientific journal, Eunice was a gifted inventor and a central figure in the women's suffrage movement. Alongside Elizabeth Cady Stanton and other icons of the movement, Eunice helped to organize and publish the proceedings of the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848. The impact of her work is twofold. Not only did she demonstrate unequivocally to her contemporaries that women were, of course, capable of profound breakthroughs in the sciences, and she fought to open doors for all those who came after her, but the long-delayed rediscovery of her contributions also highlighted just how many brilliant women have been overwritten by their male counterparts in our history books. She detailed in plain English the significance of her research in climate science over a century before the scientific community began to grapple with the consequences of a warming planet. The remarkable women behind so many innovations, advancements, and cultural phenomena deserve to be remembered by history, and though it is just one small piece of the larger effort, this resolution helps my daughter and her generation see role models like Eunice Newton Foote behind our greatest achievements in science. So thank you, members, today, though it is nearly 170 years overdue. Please join me in honoring the mother of modern climate science and recognizing Eunice Newton Foote Day. I respectfully ask for your aye vote on SCR 99.
I would also like to add my voice to recognizing the life and legacy of Eunice Newton Foote. When I use my gender lens, one of the areas that I feel it's so clear that we continue to have just a tremendous amount of sexism in our environment is when you read obituaries. The number of obituaries about men, which are contemporaneous, that show what people have done in their lifetime, it is literally 80% to 20% when you start looking at that. And this recognition on the floor of the State Senate for the 170 years overdue, but a woman who was a leader in climate science before it was even a thing in the mid-19th century, as my good colleague said, really recognizes that women have been active in these important societal questions, of course, for many years, for decades and decades here in America, and it's important that we recognize them. So I wanted to stand today to support what my colleague has said and also to raise the profile of this remarkable woman, Eunice Newton Foote. Thank you.
I appreciate the comments of my colleague who was on a panel with me just a few weeks ago relating to a film that highlighted her work. We're actually going to introduce the filmmaker in just a moment. Thank you, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Secretary, please call the roll.
In celebration of newly declared Eunice Newton Foote Day, I have the privilege of welcoming to the Senate Kathy Kasich, who's a gifted scientist and an award-winning documentary filmmaker. She began her education in the sciences, getting her undergraduate and master's degrees in biology before returning to earn her Master's of Fine Arts in Science Documentary Filmmaking. Since then, she's worked with the BBC, National Geographic, and the Smithsonian to do justice to the science that she loves. Kathy's work has always been driven by her awe and fascination for the natural world, and her curiosity has led her to capture the remarkable stories that our environment holds, both about our relationship to nature and about the world before. In her pursuit of those stories, Kathy has found herself exploring subglacial lakes in Antarctica, recording frogs in the rainforest of Ecuador, studying the depths of Greenland's ice sheet, garnering well-deserved festival awards and accolades along the way. And her most recent film, The Memory of Darkness, Light, and Ice, unravels 400,000 years of climate history etched into the ice of Greenland. And it directly highlights the work of Eunice Newton Foote as the foundation for the work that Kathy and her colleagues are doing. The film has been honored with multiple awards. It's been shown at this year's annual meeting of the American Association for the Advancement of Science, the very same meeting at which Eunice watched a male colleague present her groundbreaking paper in 1856. Kathy is not only elevating Eunice Newton Foote's legacy, but is one of the many remarkable women following in her tradition of exploration and discovery. Senator Blakespeare and I had, along with Senator McNerney as well, we had the honor of going to a film screening and then serving on a panel with Kathy. Whether it's in the polar ice caps or in our backyard at the American River, and she's now making a film, her next film is about the American River. Her efforts to better understand and share the science and beauty of nature honor both the legacy and spirit of Ms. Foote. Members, please join me in welcoming Kathy Kasich to the California Senate floor.
Welcome.